Well, polls closed about 2 hours ago. Those who were still in line or in line could still vote. On a normal night, we'd bring you results right about now, but this is not a normal election night because results will not be released until next week. Now, this was the scene at the polls earlier today. Voters in masks, some of them, waiting about 6 feet apart. Every other state with an election scheduled for April postponed their vote or shifted it to by mail voting only. And a long day with long lines for voters continues at this hour. It's just after 10 o'clock. NBC 26's Ryan Curry is at West High School right now, and voters are still in line. Is that the case, Ryan?
Yeah, that's right, John. And this looks like it is far from over. Voters are still in line. The line is stretching well outside the building and around the corner of the high school right now. You mentioned polls closed a couple hours ago, but still many people are in line and many people are still desperately trying to cast their ballot on this election day that is happening right now. I'll step aside here to give you a look at what the scene is at Green Bay West High School. You can see many people standing in line. Some are valuing that 6 feet apart rule. Others are not. Many are wearing masks and gloves, trying to limit their contact with other people and limit, hopefully, their chances of catching COVID-19. But this has been a very historic day for people who decided to come out and vote in this election day. Despite the fact that this pandemic is going on, many people are still valuing their right as a citizen to vote right now in the state of Wisconsin. And a crazy day. Many polling locations were closed earlier, condensed down to just a few. This is one of them at Green Bay West High School. Lines have been long here all day, and you're still seeing the result of it right now. And no time will tell really how long this is going to be going on for. Anyone in line still has their right to cast their ballot, and they have to do so on this day. Any other day just won't count right now. We'll continue to monitor it right now. People are still being very patient. They're keeping their spirits high, and they're still, again, valuing their rights to cast a ballot today on this historic day where people are voting during the middle of this pandemic. From now, reporting live in Green Bay, Ryan Curry, NBC 26. John and Nina, I'll send it back to you.
Ryan, thank you. Almost eerie, at least on my TV screen, with what looked like that fog hanging in the air. A lot of people committed to voting tonight. And here's a look at decisions for voters on the ballot today. Democratic presidential candidates Senator Bernie Sanders and former Vice President Joe Biden are facing off in Wisconsin's presidential primary. The only statewide race is for the state Supreme Court, where Justice Daniel Kelly faces Dane County Circuit Court Judge Jill Karofsky. And here in Northeast Wisconsin, a number of local races, including this one, the race for Appleton mayor between Jake Woodford and James Clemens. And adding to the uniqueness of this election, again here, there will be no results tonight. Results of today's election won't be released until next Monday. That's April 13th.
As this historic election day slowly comes to an end, NBC 26's Ryan Curry also spoke with a family who was in line today to cast their vote to find out what it was like for them.
Tuesday's spring election was certainly one for the memory books.
Lots of room inside, lots of, nobody's near each other.
Sean and Michelle Perry were one of the many people who cast their ballots in person at the former Shopko building. They, along with many others, cast their ballots wearing special gear to limit their chances of getting COVID-19.
That's one of the great experiences, is seeing our community coming out to vote and have their voice be heard.
People who are coming out to this former Shopko today are using preventative measures like gloves and masks. Me, myself, I'm doing something similar to protect me while I report. I've got this long pole with my mic attached to it that I'm using to help interview people.
Both have moms who are health compromised, and so we're watching out for them, and we have 3 children and watching out for them, so we're setting an example to them of how important this is.
The Perrys say they always come to vote in person. They say they feel there is a special experience when it comes to voting. Only this time, their experience was different. They say they were nervous while inside.
We couldn't stop and talk to everybody. Our neighbor was one of the volunteers, and we couldn't even give him a hug, so that's hard.
Officials debated whether or not it was safe to hold Election Day while the coronavirus continues to spread. Late Monday night, the Wisconsin Election Commission was still talking to each other on whether or not it was okay for people to go to the polls.
It's very important in our system of representative democracy that citizens have a right to choose their representatives, especially during a crisis.
This isn't a situation where we should be expecting ordinary people to risk their lives the lives of people around them, to go vote.
Regardless of the debate, Election Day still happened, and many people like the Perrys wanted to do their civil duty.
We got to do it, so figure out a way to do it and do it safely.
In Neenah, Ryan Curry, NBC 26.
Inside that Neenah location, every poll worker wore gloves and masks, and they disinfected the booths after voters were done using them.
What a difference, the lines in Green Bay versus none at that time at that location in Neenah. Well, this is the first time National Guard members have served as poll workers on Election Day. And they wore street clothes, so you might not have recognized them. No fatigues. More than 2,400 soldiers worked at sites in 71 of Wisconsin's 72 counties.